Hey guys, it's Mike with Dolan Cues and Billiards Instruction, and today we're going to be discussing patterns. Not those patterns. Yes, that pattern. So we want to keep some elements in mind when we're selecting a pattern. One of the biggest and most critical one is the KISS theory, and we want to keep it super simple. So we don't want to move our cue ball around a lot. The less we move the cue ball around, the better outcomes we'll typically have. The next element is a crossover into positional play. Good position creates good patterns. So when we think about natural lines coming into our line, we have a bigger room, we have more room for error if we're coming into our line. Natural lines means we don't have to overhit or overspin the ball. It's going to naturally come into where we want it to go. Also like to keep in thought 3 balls ahead. And I like to use traffic lights as an indicator to say this ball's a green light, red light, yellow light. If we're green all the way, we're offense. If we're yellow all the way, we're cautionary. And if we're red, we know we're going to be playing a defense. Which kind of leads me into problem balls, problem areas, clusters that we might need to either break out or that we're going to be playing, we know we're going to be playing a defense because of it. So those need to be addressed within your first couple shots of a pattern. Otherwise, your pattern is going to end with a defense. That's okay too. It can, as long as we're maximizing our chance to get back to the table. We also want to consider working in groups. So if we have one group of balls on one end of the table and another group of balls at the other end of the table, don't work from one to the other. It kind of goes back to the first theory of KISS. Don't move that cue ball around a lot if you don't have to. If you can work off one end of the table, work your way down towards the other end of the table and clear that, you're going to find that you're going to have more success as well. So at the end of this, we're going to go over some drills. But right now, let's get to the table and start looking at some patterns. Yeah? All right, we're going to take a look at an example. We have 3 balls on the table. We're running a rotation game. And while your pattern as far as what ball you're going to shoot next has already been predefined, because it's rotational, where you play those balls has not been defined. You get to define that. So in this example, we're going to be running the 1, 2, and 3. Again, we're going to get 3 balls ahead. I'm going to try to keep this simple. And I'm going to try to come in natural lines. So my pattern is actually to play the 1, let it come up above the 2, shoot the 2, and I'm right there for the 3. Again, it's a natural line up. I do have an option to just play the 1 to the rail and then shoot the 2 up in that corner. However, I feel like the 2 in the corner is a slightly harder shot. There may be situations where I would play that, but I'm going to play the 1 here, 2 there, 3 there. Again, I didn't spin that. I didn't hit that hard. I didn't overhit that. I just went into the natural line. Again, you can see how soft, really mid ball, and I'm perfect on the 3. Now, like I said, there may be situations where that 2 ball gets played in a different area. Maybe my last ball is up on that bottom rail. Maybe I want to play that 5 up there and leave the cue over here. So that's my pattern in this time. I'm going to hit this 1, not the same line, but I'm going to hit it a lot softer and come into the rail, shoot the 5 there, and run the 9 over. So I left myself a nice little angle on this 5, and I should be able to run it down to the bottom rail. Again, I didn't do anything spectacular. I don't think I hit anything with spin. I didn't have to overhit anything. It was a very natural, and I had room for error. So in that example, room for error. Let's talk about coming into our line. Heard this a lot, but what does that mean? So in this situation, coming into my line means I'm coming up this way. So I can hit this very, very softly. And I have position. If I overhit that a little bit, not a lot, just overhit a little, again, move dramatically further, probably about an additional foot, but I came into my line. So I always had position as long as I was in this area. So there's a couple theories. I didn't move the cue ball around a lot. I kept it simple. I came into my line, and I was thinking 3 balls ahead. So next we'll talk about groups and see how we can work a pattern based off of where the balls are. So at this point I've thrown some balls out in no particular order really, but I'm taking a look at, I'm running solids and this is an 8-ball rack. So I'm going to work from one end of the table to the other. And I'm going to start at this end. I'd like to finish on the same end as my 8-ball. So what I'm looking at a pattern, I'm looking at 3 balls ahead. 1, 4, 5. 1 there, 4 here, 5 here. So start with the 1 ball. Again, coming into my line, I could have been off by 1.5 feet there. I'm going to be looking at 3 balls ahead again. 3 balls ahead is a continuous thing. Every time I shoot, I need to reevaluate. So I'm looking at the 4, 5, and either the 2 or the 7. I'm not too concerned with either. I think it's going to be the 2 here. So let's see how this plays out. Natural line, a little on the low side, but it got me halfway down the table. So it already did most of my work, and this is, again, a short shot. 3 balls ahead. I've already worked half of the table. Now I'm looking at the 2, the 5, the 2, and I have to figure out where would I want to be on that 7. I want to be over here. So can I get that positional play, or do I need to change my pattern from 5-2 to 5-7? Well, I kind of don't think I do. I think I'm just going to stop it there, stun it over to here, and when I play the 2, I'm going to bring the cue ball back between the 7 and the 14. See how that works out. At this point, I should really be considering this like a rotational game. I'm not changing from here out. Once I shoot this, I'm down to 4 balls. I'm not going to have a lot of options because I'm playing specifically for the 2. I did just what I wanted to. I just slid it over again. I didn't do a lot with it. And now I should just be able to roll this right up through. And I want to end up about mid-table so that I can shoot the 7 and bring it back for the 8. Not hitting it hard. Didn't overhit anything. I can really just stop that, maybe pull it back 3 inches, and I'm perfect on the 8. So there we talked about groups. We worked from one end of the table to the other. And this ball, the 4 ball, was an important ball because it actually brought me about 3 feet closer to the 5 ball. Made it a lot easier to shoot and finish out my pattern. The closer you are to your object ball, the easier it is going to be controlling your positional play. And that's the crossover between position and patterns. Easy position makes for a good pattern. Yeah. So now we're going to talk about problem areas, breakouts. What do we do? All right, I've set up the table again, and I've created a real problem for myself. That 8-ball does not have a pocket, so I better address that or have a plan for that pretty quick. Plans for problem areas should exist by having balls near them that you can use to go into that problem. Never like leaving my problem as the last ball because it's unpredictable what's going to happen to that 8-ball when I break it out. So I would like to have another ball. I think it's going to be the 1-ball will be my key ball. My 7-ball is going to be my breaker. So again, I'm going to look at a pattern that runs from one side to the other, creating a breakout. And if I don't get that breakout, I'm going to have to play a safe. But again, 3 balls ahead, so it's going to be 6 in the corner, 2 in the side, 7, but I need to be very specific when I get on that 2. I need to have position so the cue ball will go into that cluster. So I hit that good. Now I really need to think about position so that I can continue my pattern. I got a real good line. The cue ball can drift down. I really want to hold it pretty close to here because I know the tangent line for this shot is going to go right into there. I'm going to hold this as close to that as I can. Good. Always leave yourself an angle. Now I have an angle. Hopefully I can break that out. Send the 8 down to the bottom rail, and I'll have the 1 to bring me to the 8. Something to consider with breakout and problem balls. Stay in control. You don't need to overhit these. I just need to bump that, really, and get the cue ball clear. See, I just bumped the 8 out, and I knew I would clear the 14, give me position on the 1. I don't see any problem with this run out. It's going to go the rail and back out. Again, I'm going to come into my line. Easy. So I knew I had a problem before I shot my first ball. So I knew I needed to address that. I knew I had the 7-ball or the 1-ball I could use as a solution to break that out. I had decided on the 7. I had planned my pattern to be 1, 2, 3 balls, 1, 2, 3 balls, 1, 2, 3 balls, 1, 2, 3 balls every time. I'm going to run through one more example, and this is straight pool or 14.1 or call shot. So if you don't know the rules, you shoot any ball in any order. So I've already broken. I had a good breaker. So I'm going to just talk through my thought process quickly to say, how do I get these cleared off? And really, I'm just looking to clear this table. So I'd like to work. I already have really good shape on that 5. If I start with a 6, I'm going to work down table. So I'd like to work from one end of the table to the other. So I think it's going to be 5, 12, and 3 or 6. I'm not sure which. Three is a little weird of an angle. Upside, you'd have to shoot it from the top half of the table. So I would like to shoot that next. So now I have 3, and I was looking at 6. And I think I still have an angle to slide it out. That will bring me down table. So 3, 6, 1. The 1's a problem because it's in front of the 2. So now I reinvestigate. Is it 6? That's going to bring me down table. Kind of thinking 1 at this point. I can change my mind. So I'm going to do 1, bring it over for the 7, and then bring it up table for the 2. That's my initial game plan. I don't have any problems on the table except it's a little problematic, so I might shoot something. So I stayed in line. It's where I wanted to be. So now I'm still at 7. Is that the right shot? I'm going to look at my problem balls. Suppose I could shoot the 10 on the side. Not a fan. This is a little problematic here, so a little cleanup has to be done. This I think will go into the 2, so I'm going to end up moving the 2, and I'm going to shoot the 8 next. So I didn't hit the 2 as full as I wanted to. It's not so bad. Again, I can change. This is about being in areas. I'm actually looking at the 13. I said this was a problem. I'm actually in a good line to shoot that in the corner. I think the cue ball is just going to come back to the center of the table. So my pattern's very short here. It's just one ball. I knew I'd be in good position, so now I can reinvestigate my whole pattern. So I've already addressed one of my problems. Got to get one more problem out of there. So I'm looking at 15, coming over maybe here for the 14, and actually coming into that problem. I'm not sure that I like this anymore. I can change my mind. 14's a nice straight shot. I think I can get a decent position on the 8. Or do I shoot the 8 now? Where does that take me? It can take me up table. I'm going to shoot this 14 now. Left me a little straighter on the 8. Still need to address this problem. And it's getting to be a bigger and bigger problem as I get closer and closer to the end of the rack. So is the 8 the right shot? I could shoot the 6. Use the 11 to hold it. I like that shot. Why did I like that shot? It's because it left me a good line on the 2 to kind of come out. Or if the line's not big enough, the 8 ball's there. I'm going to leave the 8 ball for now in case I miss this breaker. Not quite full enough. I'm going to try to come behind it. So that means coming into this rail. This is exactly what you shouldn't want to have to do. But know that you can if you have to. So now your practice, your drill. In this case, we're just going to rack up a few balls. You're going to take ball in hand after the break, and if you're successful, you add a ball. So I'm starting with 4 balls. I'm going to break. If you make one, it's fine. You're going to take ball in hand, and you're going to figure out a pattern. So in this case, I'm looking at just 3 balls. I like rolling the 7, shooting the 11 here, and stopping it there for the 12. Is that right? My right pattern still? I don't know. Did I roll up far enough? I did, but I could change this. light hits, minimal cue ball movements. I was successful at 4 balls. I'm going to add a ball. I'm going to go to 5, go to 6, go to 7, go all the way up to 15. If that becomes relatively easy for you, shoot them in order. Every drill you do can be leveled up by making it harder. So there's your practice routine. I hope this discussion on patterns was helpful and your game improves. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.